Awesome, folks. Welcome to the live interview here today. I'm really excited to be bringing Aleah on here to share a little bit about how she's been growing her business with some of the strategies we've been teaching her in CCI. So, to get started, Aleah, go ahead, introduce yourself to everyone, what you do, who you are, and we'll get started from there.
Hi, I'm Aleah. I'm a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner, which is a mouthful. Basically, what I do is I specialize in diagnostics from a functional standpoint, and I help midlife women with their fatigue, bloating, and mood swings so they can start feeling good that second chapter of life.
I love it. Okay, and I need to make sure I'm pronouncing it right. It's Aleah, not Aleah.
Yes,
Aleah.
correct. Yep, but I'll answer to
Okay, I
whatever.
heard
You're
that. I heard that, and I was like, okay, correct that.
good. No
No, I'm
worries.
excited. I'm excited to dive into some of this because I like everyone who's watching, whether it's people on Instagram, we got people watching on Facebook. I want them to know like what behind the scenes is actually working to help health practitioners like yourself get clients, grow on Instagram, all those different things. So I want to just get a quick brief like what was business like before CCI and like what made you join, and then I want to dive into the strategy. So for those folks that are watching that want the strategy, we're going to be diving into that in a second. But tell me a little bit about before CCI, Aaliyah. What business was like? What level what was it at? What were you working on? Just so people have a bit of a background on it.
Mhm. Sure. So before CCI, I worked mainly part-time hours, in between like drop off and pick up with my kids. So it was an abbreviated work day. And I didn't really have any big systems or plans. It was kind of like sit down and try to move the needle each day. I would
Yeah.
say I would average about 2000 a month. But months were definitely not consistent. I might have a high month and then crickets for like 3 months. So there was no predictability when it came to caseload coming in and clients I could help. So it was very just kind of all over the place. And I had the opportunity to, my children drive themselves to school now. So I had the opportunity to put
Great.
more hours into work, and that allowed me to want to focus more on the back end side of the business and actually kind of get things to take off. And we moved across the country at that same time. So I had gone from
Crazy.
having about 85% of my clients coming from local people, and I knew with starting over in a totally different state, that wasn't going to be the case. So I needed to expand online, and I that was so hard to even know where to begin because there's so many things out there, and anything I tried on my own just didn't, it was spaghetti on the wall, nothing stuck.
Big world. And if you were to Google, how do I get clients online? I mean, the amount of different opinions and advice is just
Hmm.
a lot. Like it's the same thing if people are like, what diet should I follow? Do not Google that because like it will be literally like 100 different things. Some that are incredible, some are incredibly bad. Like
Hmm.
it's not a good idea. It's better to find someone that's going to help you do things the right way.
Yeah.
Before we jump into strategy, I always love asking the question, what made you decide to invest in a business mentor? Because it's a little bit scary sometimes to invest in a business mentor. It's definitely not the cheapest way that you can do things. What for you was like the deciding factor of like, I'm actually going to invest in myself, in my business to grow this thing? What was kind of, yeah, the deciding factors for you?
I think it was knowing that I was going from like a part-time, office hours into full-time, that if I wanted to actually fill those full-time hours in a new state, that I needed
Right.
someone who'd done it before to actually walk me through the process. It was one of those things where I think the best coaches invest in coaches. And so if I'm asking people to trust me to walk them through the process because I've been there and done that before, then I knew from a business standpoint, it would be beneficial to have a coach that's been there and done it before to walk me through it because everything
Sure.
I had done on my own so far really wasn't doing anything on its own. So,
100%. I often say, like, usually there aren't shortcuts in life, but I do believe
mhm.
that mentorship is a shortcut. Like,
Yeah.
usually you have to learn the hard way, fail till you figure it out. But
Hmm.
coaching is one of the probably small amount of areas that you can actually get ahead by taking the shortcut.
Yes.
Now, enough about that. I want to dive into strategy. So most
Hmm.
people know that when we teach health practitioners like yourself, we have a very kind of simple flow. We have this like, we're boosting these different posts to grow your audience. We have kind of like content and conversation stuff that you're doing to like warm people up, book discovery calls, and then obviously sales process to close clients, like a very simple process. And I want to walk people through how that's working for you, just because sometimes people can like see the whole like the funnel of it, if we want to call it that, and they're like, okay, that makes sense, but how does this actually work? So I want to
Mhm.
go through these kind of like one step at a time. Let's start
Yeah.
with like the boosted stuff. A lot of people are like, so you just boost a post and you get followers. Walk people through like how it's working for you right now, maybe how much you're spending and how many followers you're getting, like how it's all working for you, just so people get a bit of an idea of like, yeah, what it's looking like.
Sure. So prior to doing a boosted ad, I was posting on my own like 3 reels a day and
Right.
little to no growth. So I was spending a lot of time making reels, making content, putting it out. I would maybe get 2 new followers a week.
Right.
Since the boosted ad and joining CCI and actually having a strategy, I spend $10 a day boosting
Okay.
one reel that I created. And
Right.
that gets me about 20 to 30 followers a day.
That's
So,
awesome. Okay, so
yeah,
20 to
so
30 a
it's,
day. So like between 140 to 200 a week, basically.
yes, yep.
That's
I
awesome.
average about 200 a week.
That's fantastic. So, and I'm just curious, like, just from like a standpoint of seeing those like followers coming in, those leads coming in, how does
Mhm.
that feel knowing like it would be kind of hard to run out of leads at this point? How does that feel just from a business perspective?
From a business perspective, there's just so many more eyes on my work and so many more people that I
Right.
can talk to and just individually go out and reach out to that didn't exist before at all. So
Yeah.
that's huge. It's great just to see that the opportunity is there that maybe wasn't
Yeah,
before.
100%. I feel like so many people who aren't doing something boosted, they're trying to organic. It's just like you said, it's like 2 followers a week. And it's like,
Yeah.
great. Well, if you sign up both of those, maybe business would be okay, but that's just
Yeah.
unrealistic, right? So,
Hmm.
and I'm curious, like a lot of people are also scared that like if I boost, it's gonna be really expensive. You're saying $10 a day, so like
Yeah.
$70 a week. It's not crazy.
Hmm.
And also a lot of people are scared about the quality of the followers that are coming in. From what you've seen so far, how is the quality of the followers? Do you feel like are these people that are good leads, are actually becoming clients and different things like that?
Absolutely. I have had some that have converted to clients and has more than paid for what I've paid for the boosted ad. The return on investment there has been like
Right.
a no-brainer. But the conversations that I'm having, they're definitely my target audience. They're definitely people that are looking for what I do. It's you're able to actually target what kind of people you want to see your work, and you get the right people coming in.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I do want to say, like I said this before you press record, but like you have such a great boosted post. Your superpower with that boosted post is like you use an entertaining and engaging way of engaging with the people because you were like sliding across the desk with the boosted post, which is just
Hmm.
a great way. Because like again, a lot of people boost posts, but if you're not specific with it or you're not engaging with it, it's much
Hmm.
harder to get followers, right? You might spend $10 a
Right.
day and only get 4 followers or 5 followers. And so I just want to
Hmm.
like give a shout out that you're doing a really good job by having a very engaging boosted post. So kudos to that.
Thank you.
Let's talk about, okay, now we're getting these people into conversations, right? And a
Hmm.
lot of people get stuck in conversations. I say they either end up in the friend zone or they like try to pitch too soon and just get ghosted. That's usually like we see that on the spectrum. What have you found most helpful about kind of our DM strategy on
Hmm.
Instagram that has allowed you to like build authentic relationships and then
Hmm.
convert these people to discovery calls?
Sure. So prior to CCI, I didn't reach out to anyone in my DMs at all. I
Oh
waited for them to
no.
come to me. I know. I know. So, no big wild surprise as to why things were not consistent. I was waiting for people to come to me. So, one, having a process has been huge for me. Two, because that is not something that I had experience with, having something that's so nicely laid out that I can follow along with, it's amazing how effective it is in getting people to respond and actually start those conversations with you where you can have real conversation has been a game changer for me. And I mean, there's been times where working with my coach, we'll change one word in a message and all of a sudden the response rates like double. And
Totally.
I would have not have picked up on that on my own. I'm like, what would that one word do? But she does.
Yeah,
And so it's amazing just having that
100%.
support to kind of like help you go through these things and do that fine tweaking
I
can make a
love that.
really big difference.
And let's touch on that for a second because I think that's actually very important because yes, you're giving kind of the strategies of like the boosted posts and the conversations. You're giving the
Mhm.
frameworks that in and of themselves do work, but maybe talk a little bit about how that one-on-one support you get in the program, as far as personalizing it to you and kind of just like helping optimizing. Maybe talk about how that's helpful. Because I think also, I think you're the coach you're working with in the program, Cassie, also helped you
Mhm.
with the whole like sliding across the desk, engaging boosted posts. So maybe
Mhm.
talk about how that personalization is helping take these strategies and just making them work even better for you.
Yeah, definitely. I think if it was just like something on a piece of paper, everything I produce would probably be pretty vanilla all
Yeah,
across
yeah,
the
yeah.
board. But then having someone that can kind of push you to like push your comfort zone, step outside of that comfort zone a little bit has been
Yeah,
huge. And, we agreed that my personal personality has some goofy qualities to it. Like I just like to be silly and stuff too, in addition to being professional. So having that come through by doing something
for sure.
entertaining in the reel made sense so that people got a sense of who I was. So we were able to just to kind of keep going back and
Love
forth
that.
and fine tweaking things. I mean, I think I shot two different videos that I thought, were going to be really good and sent them to her and she's like, they're great, but let's try this. And so we tried it and it was like we nailed it. So having someone else's opinion that actually has experience doing this is priceless because they have seen what
Yeah,
works. Yeah.
100%. And that's like what we've just noticed on our end of things is that the strategies void of the personalization would still work. Like you
Oh,
probably
yeah.
would spend $10 a day and maybe get like 5 to 10 followers, and it
Mhm.
probably would still be profitable overall. But adding that extra piece of like customizing it, getting it more specific, just making it a bit better, then
Mhm.
all of a sudden gets you to maybe 30 followers. Like you also get this like this
Mhm.
2 or 3x return on a strategy with just
Yeah.
in basically taking it from like a bit of a cookie cutter framework to just
Hmm.
slightly more personalized, right?
I would
Which
agree.
obviously pays off big dividends then on the return on investment. So I love
Mhm.
to hear that. Now, let's talk about sales for a little bit. A lot of
Yeah.
people who join our program, they want to be super aggressive and salesy, but also most of them aren't making any sales, right? They're like,
Mhm.
I don't want to be salesy, but they're not getting any clients. So talk maybe a little bit about the sales strategy that you've been taught and how it's feeling for you, because I think that sales is one of the key skills that entrepreneurs have to learn, and most people
Mhm.
avoid it. And maybe talk about how you've been kind of diving into it and going after it.
Yeah, definitely. So this has been a huge area for me. I'm kind of like you just mentioned, we don't have a lot of experience in sales. It's more the functional side of
Yeah.
things. So learning to actually be okay with selling has been a huge mindset shift for me, and being able to do it in a way that feels good. It doesn't feel slimy, it doesn't feel sleazy. I'm actually able to come to these conversations knowing that I'm providing benefit that makes it
Yes.
feel good the whole time. And just having a framework that walks me through what I can go on, with a potential client on the call and actually walk through these steps, and it makes so much more sense. Whereas before I had like a mental picture of things I tried to hit, but it really was just me regurgitating things. I mean, I was just like word vomiting all over these people before. And now it's like it makes sense. I sound professional. I actually am able to convey what I do instead of just kind of having all these like squirrel moments
Exactly.
going everywhere. Yeah.
100%. Having, I mean, again, it's having that framework that's just going to allow you to like not feel scattered and to still make the deal. Because again, we want it to feel good as far as being service oriented on those sales calls,
Hmm.
but we also want to be closing clients. Some people,
Right.
I say their hearts bleed so much that they don't follow a strategy and they just don't get clients. And then they're out of business and they're not helping anyone, which we don't
Hmm.
want, right?
Right.
And so I love that you've just been jumping in, you've been learning, you've just been sprinting on this. Now, I do want to quickly like talk about the results you've been getting because I know a lot
Hmm.
of people are like, okay, what kind of results are people getting in the program? And I want you to share maybe a little bit of like for a lot of people we often see the first month they start to see a little bit of momentum. It's usually the second and third month of the program where they start to see a lot more momentum. Maybe just walk
Hmm.
people through a little bit of like the progress you saw in the program, just from a realistic standpoint, just so that
Hmm.
yeah, people know what's possible with these strategies.
Yeah, definitely. So I think my first month was about 5,000. And then by eight
Right.
weeks, I had hit 10,000 for that month. So
Nice.
15 total. And
Yeah.
then this month I'm on track to hit another $10,000 month or exceed it. I plan to exceed it. So
Of
I
course.
think it's just going to keep growing as it goes. Just the more comfortable you get with everything, the better it kind of
Yeah.
works. Hmm.
100%. I love that. And that's, I mean, that's so important for us because I love knowing that in the first 8 weeks, you already made enough money back that you basically you made more than you invested in us, right? And
Hmm.
that's just
Right.
great for us because like obviously we're not cheap to work with, but we want people to see that they're working with us to get the best return. That's really what
Right.
we're looking for. So
Hmm.
I love to hear that. Now, folks, if you got any questions, by the way, you folks can comment them over on Facebook or on Instagram if you got questions about how this works. But I guess what let's kind of like we'll tail it off with this, Aleah, because I don't want to take too much of your time. You're busy. You're getting. We need to have a record month again. What would be your main advice for people that are watching here today who are wanting to get to their first $10,000 month as a health practitioner, as a health coach? What would be like just from your past 2 months of experience, or I guess it's probably more like 10 weeks in our program? What strategically or even just mindset wise do you feel like has made the biggest difference for you that you could share with the people watching that maybe could make the biggest difference for them as well?
Sure. So my recommendation is to go all in. Simply
Yeah.
because if you invest in yourself and then you follow what your coaches are asking you to do, they are proven tactics and strategies for a reason. And you
Yeah.
can't say something doesn't work if you've not given it your all and tried it and put it all out there. So to me, it's just like we do with our clients where we ask them to do things, but if they're not doing their piece, they're not going to get the same results. It's the same with anything like this. So you want to invest in yourself so that you can actually have someone walk that journey with you and then do everything that they say. Step outside your comfort
Ab-
zone. There's going to be growth moments that happen for sure, but just lean all the way in, and that is where you start to really see momentum is because you're doing it just like they said to.
I love that. I love that. And that's, I mean, that's so true in any part of life, right? Like
Yeah.
you could be given the best strategy in any area of life, whether in your health or in the business or in relationships. But if you don't go all in on it, it's not going to be
Can't
helpful,
expect
right? It's when
results.
the basically rubber, exactly, the rubber hits the road when you take the knowledge and you actually implement it.
Yep.
So that's such great advice because I mean, we live in this day and age where there's so much information, there's so much knowledge out there. It's quite
Hmm.
easy to Google or YouTube a certain piece of advice. I mean, frankly, even a lot of the stuff we teach in our program, the truth is people don't buy our program because we have this like secret knowledge, even though we have very good strategies in here. Don't get me
Hmm.
wrong, but it's because we're actually helping people implement it in a
Yep.
personalized way. Right. And the same
Yep.
thing probably for the health advice that you give people. They could probably Google their way into finding some similar answers, but they're not going to
Hmm.
get the results because that's not going all in. That's just like tickling the brain and thinking that you're
Yep.
making progress when you're not. So, anyway, I
Right.
love that advice. Folks, go all in on what you want to do. Make sure you're implementing. And Aleah, thank you for taking your time here today. Folks, we got
Absolutely.
no questions here so far. If you're watching the replay of this, by the way, folks, make sure you can comment your questions down below. We'll still get to all your answers or answer all your questions. But that being said, folks, that's all the time I wanted to take up of Aleah's because she's busy and I want her to go have an amazing month so that I can share all of her success with all of you folks. So, that being said, folks, we're going to end this for today. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. By the way, if you're watching this, we are doing something fun for Black Friday. So, if you're wanting to get to your first 10K months, you want mentorship, we might be doing something for Black Friday. So, feel free to reach out if you are looking for support. That being said, folks, we're gonna log off for today. Have a great Thursday, and we have probably are gonna do another interview next week or the following week, just because we love sharing these. So look out for that. Bye for now, folks.
Bye, everyone.
There we go. The live streams have stopped,
Okay.
and
Phew.